Welcome back to Dyson Sphere Program. My name is Nilaus and this is a continuation of the Let's Play, but it's actually a tutorial today. And look at this absolutely ridiculously amazing thing I have for you. And this is going to be a short video. Why? Not because the topic is not important, but because there's simply not a lot to say because it's so damn simple. Isn't that amazing? It's so damn simple. So what is this? This is a make everything base and make everything hub that is available for you to expand both in width and also with what you want on the bus or on the bus or on your hub, because in the previous version of my jumpstart base or make everything hub, I decided what was important to build, and now there's more items added and it just gets a little bit difficult to add it. So I needed something that was robust, modular, and and we could build. So I've designed this, and this is using one blueprint, and we designed it on stream and with a lot of input from a lot of people in the community who just kept coming up with ideas how to tweak it and make it even more awesome. So let's take a look at how it's built, because it's only really basically one blueprint, and I will of course provide the blueprint. You can check the link in the description, and of course, if you like it, hit the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel for more guides, tutorials, let's plays, and all that good stuff. And of course, consider watching on Twitch, because I'm actually streaming on Twitch TV/Nilaus on many evenings, and I'm streaming a lot of Dyson Sphere Program right now. So let's get started. So the very first thing we did in the first episode of the Let's Play was trying to get just a little bit of mining, just a little bit of setup. So we are seeing that here we have iron, we have stone, we have green circuits, we have magnetic coils, we have gears, and then we have some other things that will come later on. But I want to show it here for this design. We are going to start by using a blueprint, and I said there was one blueprint, but there's technically two blueprints, but one of them you're only going to use once. So what this is basically a start where you get to store everything. I'm bringing everything in here on level 1, and I want the bus to be on level 2 and lifted one level. And the reason why I want that is because that makes everything so much easier in terms of branching, because then you can do the branching at ground level, which is way nicer. Here, this also means that things are coming in and things will just fill up here. Also, as soon as you get it, this is also a perfect opportunity to set the hats called logistics distributor. Put these in here when you have them. I'm not put them into the blueprint because I'm not imagining that you have this by the time you build this hub. This is something you want to build as early as possible, therefore Mark 1 belts and just really basic stuff. But now we have a opportunity here to store things right here for a rainy day when we start consuming more than what we have. And now comes the part where we are only using a single blueprint for all of this. This is the blueprint. It's glorious, and you can see it's 172 facilities out, and I have 900 tech. But even if you have the 300 tech, the initial tech, then you can actually build this and stamp it down immediately. There we go. I'm just stamping it down. So what does this do? Well, the first thing it does is it adds a lot more splitters than you might want to have. This is just to make it two reasons: nice and symmetric. I like symmetry. The second thing is that it allows you to actually really easily branch in and out without sort of having to disconnect the belts, put in a splitter, and there. The cost is you use a little more splitters. I don't care. They're pretty cheap, and even better, the hub can make it. So now this part is up to you. You can decide what you want to build at each location. I'm going to start with the stuff that I need the most of. So I will be starting with making belts and sorters. There. And the way that it works is we just simply go in here and say, all right, it needs iron, it needs gears. Okay, iron is here, get it in, and gears is here, get it in. And then we just, and there, that's it. And then you can set this up for whatever you want, how much you want to make. I've set the default into just a single box so we don't overdo it. And again, this is also an opportunity where you definitely want to set these hats on when you have that opportunity. Next one is iron and greens. I think you're already now getting the sense of how easy it is. Look at how easy it is to do some branching here. That one and that one. Done. Moving on to the next. We're just going to do a few for the repetition, and then we are going to take a look at some of the more advanced cases or the deviations from the normal cases. Look at that. I've enlisted the friends of my battlefield bases, so everything gets built incredibly fast despite us being in the very early game. What is the next thing we want? A lot of assemblers, yes, and power poles. Yes, power poles is a good idea as well. Let's get that. So here it's iron, gears, and greens. Okay, we get iron, greens, and gears. And you have to take them in this sense, in this location, otherwise they have to sort of jump over each other, and there's no reason to do that. Here it's just iron and coils. Iron going in and coils, and then of course we need to get inbound here. So what I've done with this is I have focused on ease of execution. Like, well, aesthetics and ease of execution. Let's get the next one. You know what? I think I have an idea what we want to do now. Well, of course we need the miners, but we certainly also need splitters, because this design kind of intensively using splitters, and it's also simple. There you can see here, this one has 4, so there's a way to do it, and we can drag that in here. And I forgot the other things. Yeah, okay. And the greens and the coils, those are in here. That one is iron coming in, and greens coming in, and gears coming in. There. And in, and in. Guess what we're going to do now? We're going to do one more. And this is up to you to figure out what you want in each of the different locations. What you think is the most important thing to do next. And you can just basically look at all the things you have unlocked. Let's start from one end and add there. Now, of course, what you can see is at this point we are not using glass, copper, steel, silicon, plasma exciter, I think that's what it's called, and processor. Why have I chosen those? Well, those are the ones that I think are most useful. There are also a lot of other things you could add. You could basically like anything, but engines, electric motors, electromagnetic turbines, that's screen motors, supermagnetic rings, those are all, and also, what is it called? Let's see what that's called. That one, the photon combiner, could also be things that you could add to this one here. I have chosen not to, but you are very welcome to do that as you feel like it. I'm also going to do the small boxes. That is another thing that's super useful. We're just going to have a look. This will be iron, that one, and I think that everyone has kind of gotten by now how easy it is to set up, and we can just sort of look at the more variation cases and expansion cases for later on once we set this one up here, and that one, and that one. But that is definitely easy to make, and you can see it starts working already. The next one here is actually going to be a little bit interesting, because what I want to do is I want to make my absolute favorite thing in the world, pretty much, missile turret. It's super amazing. And here we get into the trouble of saying, well, steel we can get, green we can get, but we don't have the electric motors on here, and we don't have the engines on here. And you could sort of say, yeah, I'd like to have a factory that does this, but remember, this is very early game and you want to get these going. So do you really want to make a dedicated factory with different mining locations and smelting and all that stuff? Or do you just want to say, yeah, you know what, it'll work slowly, but I just want a little bit. So in this case, I'm going to set up an engine build here. Engine build, and I'm going to set up an electric motor build here. I'll set up on the other side of the electric motor, I will set up the water pump, because that's also something that loops the electric motors. But we'll need engines for something down the line, and we'll need electric motors for something down the line as well. The electric motors, we will be using that for the second level of sorters, and the engines will be used for, I don't really remember. This one, for example, the battlefield analysis base will be using that. So we can simply set these ones up. Let's do that, because that's also enjoyable in and of itself to get even more sort of practice with this. And so we get green and steel is the stuff that we need to get in here. Green and steel comes all the way from up here. Once you have all of that. And then we can, ground it inbound. Inbound here, inbound here, inbound here, inbound here. And what about this motor? This is... oh, I don't know what I did. Oh, that's weird. What the hell did I do? So that's iron. It is the coils, and it is the gears. So those come in here. In. And then we need to make sure that they also work between. So I'm just going to make a little branch here. This is a little bit too far for us to actually feed it in. So that goes here. That goes in, and that one goes in here. There we go. So that will enable us to actually get some missile turrets. And if you watched my tips and trips video, you absolutely know that you want to get the missile turrets up and running. And the next part here is going to be the same, and that goes in here. And that one and that one. And what are the other things we need is iron, stone, and green. Okay. And again, iron, stone, and green. Sorry. Iron, stone, and green. There we go. Have to do it in the right sequence. And come on. There we go. Good. So that is how it works. Well, there are other challenges here, because there will definitely be something that you want that you don't have here. For example, is I mentioned it, the let's take something like this base. So you are going to need engines. We have those built over here, and we're not going to put them back on the bus. But when we have the hats, the logistics distributor, then we can bring it over. Or we can just grab 100, put over here, be happy, then we have a few. We're probably not going to need a ton of those. This is a little excessive. And then we also need the microcrystalline component, which is a useless ingredient that only serves a few purposes. There are two items, or the two things in the game that actually use this for three things. There's the processor, that's the usual part, but there's also two machines here that are needing it. The proliferator is also using it. So this is actually, again, a good opportunity for us to go in and say we need the microcrystalline component, that one, and then it needs to go here, feed the two nearby ones. So there's a little bit of configuration about where you want to place things. You could also sort of get this one next to that and sort of shuffle the whole thing around. There's a little bit of a trick to these kind of things if you want to. But there's also another thing. We'll just get the steel. Let's get these things in here. This is copper from up here, right? We get the copper inbound, and we get the silicon inbound here. That one and that one. And they will go into these two nearby locations. And this will need steel and green. That's easy to get. So we get green here and the steel from up here. And the last one. Well, where's that going to come from? Because we need to bring that in. So now we have the option of bringing it in here. Let's assume that by the time we are getting to this, we are also having these hats available. Otherwise, you just have to, you can manually set them up, or just drag a little belt or bring them in. But when you have the hats, then what? Well, my suggestion is you build right here. That is a deliberately made space for this. And it goes in here. And then we want a little hat on that location. This one is going to be a provider. And it's going to get 10 of those in. This one will then be a requester of... Oh, hang on. I think I made a mistake there. That will request something it should not do. There, I will request inbound, and that will request the engines. There, request engines. They should be coming here, but they're already being stolen for something else, unfortunately. But that will then head in here. Also remember to set this up as one tile, otherwise they will fill it a whole thing up. And this is deliberate that I actually put it in here. You can also shunt these a little bit to the side. For example, if you have 3 inbounds here or 4 inbounds and then another one, you can also put these to the side. So for example, this, we need, all the other things are things we have. So what was that? That was green, steel, and plasma exciter. So green, steel, and plasma. And get those inbounds. There, there, there. And that's another way. So this is another way for us to get stuff inbound into this location and get it working. Pretty damn cool. Now that also shows you how to expand it further on in the little bit later. Now we have everything available in this network for these. Why are you not working? Right, it's because it's simply not making engines. So that's the part about this. This will always just be slow, but eventually it'll make it. You'll go do something else, clear some biters or whatever they're called, and then come back and then it'll be all good. However, there's also a really much later game aspect to this, because the way that I've designed it, there's a pretty good space between them. I've done that for 2 different reasons. One is to leave room for these splitters in the middle, but the other reason is because I want to make sure that at some point I want this stuff to be put into interstellar logistics stations so that I can reach it from anywhere. Not the first 3, they are exceptions because they need to be upgraded first, but these I need to make available to anywhere. That means I need to be able to place a interstellar logistics station right where I'm placing here. And if I do that, then I can drag things in on a belt here. I can drag it in on a belt like this, and I can drag this on a belt like this, and this will go in. And there are 5 input into a interstellar logistics station, so that will be the 5 locations here, and they will be going into this location. So that goes in. And the thing is, if I just pave this area, there we go, then this space here and the corresponding room in between is actually exactly the minimum distance between 2 interstellar logistics stations. And that's not a coincidence. That was something we have meticulously balanced and timed it. So this location will be the minimum distance of interstellar logistics stations. And that means you can see these 5, put them in, next 5, put them in, and still have room for the interstellar logistics. You couldn't do that if you squeezed it together. I see some people make it as compact as possible, but this is a space game, and space is full of, you guessed it, space. So use it. Cool. I think that's all I want to say about this one. Remember, I actually have all the blueprints I make. I have a direct update load to Google Drive, where every time I make a blueprint, it's already available immediately in the Google Drive. That's how I'm making it, and I think that's a pretty damn cool way of doing it. It makes it a little bit more difficult to me because it's a little more difficult to I need to make sure that I'm a little bit more stringent on cleaning it up, which I'm not right now. But the link is in the description below, where you can also download my mecha designs and find the playlists and all that good stuff. If you wanted to get some designs that I make in my Let's Play or in my Twitch series that are not saved as blueprints, then you always have them available as save games, and you can just snatch whatever designs you want if you are a Patreon supporter. So thank you all of you who are supporting me on Patreon. That is not just for the save games, but also for just supporting the work I do here. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope this is useful. You can of course expand it with many more lines and with many more rows as you feel like it. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care, and as always, stay effective.